on the internet.
Yeah.
And this is recorded and to be for
Is there
forever.
any maybe I should have worn suit now. The world is gonna
It's a
see me.
conversation.
So you look like you're at work.
And then establish the fact that it's a short here for a conversation.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Ministry of Special Duties.
Thank you.
My name is Nelson Nisabasi. I represent the Gazette online newspaper. I happen to be selected, it's an honor actually, to lead this delegation led by the SA to Governor on new media. We have seated here gentlemen of the press drawn from specifically online media platforms. We will engage you in say 45 minutes, 1 hour intensive conversation to help us have insights as to government activities and development as it relates directly and specifically in each office. Thank you very much for opening the doors.
Thank you.
I believe that you already know the gentleman seated here. There's no need to run through the introduction, but for the benefit of those who are watching us from all over the world, we would like to do official introduction. And I'll allow the gentlemen and ladies to help themselves out from my left here.
Okay, my name is Kevin Inyang, publisher Akwa Training.
Okay, my name is Ibom, publisher at Seaport.
Dwak Umo, publisher Opinion Nigeria, manager Jaburo. Tuikon Paul Bassi, publisher Ibomobile.com.
Aneka, waitinghappen.com.ng.
Mrs. Matthew Nawana.
We have one gentleman that
Okay.
the camera cannot pick. Okay, thank you very much. Let's go straight to the issues at hand. Sir, I would like you to start by giving us insight as to what it is your office is all about. Ministry of Special Duties. Which duties of the government are referred to be special?
And of course, I must welcome you at this time. Happy New Year to everybody. I guess this, apart from Melvin, this is the first time we're meeting this year.
Yes.
So it's very happy to say that. And I want to say the responsibilities of my office is enormous. We are continuing from where the last administration stopped, which of course we have a project that are ongoing. Project Domicile in my office, it's actually those projects that are unified. Like you can't really, it's not a road, it's not housing, it's a special project. For example, stadium, it's under my ministry. The airport, it's under my ministry because there are so many other aspects, not only building, there are road construction, there is lighting, there is aviation equipment, in there, there is cargo facility in there, pilgrimage area, there's a clinic, so when you have a conglomerate of all of those projects, so you're looking at actually putting it on a special ministry, such as mine. Okay. You have hotels, for example, the 4 Point by Sheraton. You have the Tropicana. The Tropicana again is a center of excellence in terms of having a vision of Akwa being a destination. So you have the mall, the shopping mall, you have the Cineplex, you have the hotel, you have the theme park, and other convention center. So such project is under special duties. We have the water project in Akwa Ibom State. It's still under me. You have the water board under me. So the ideas of reticulation, distribution of those water to the common man, we are looking at it, and not only in Oyo metropolis, in other cities, like Ikorekmene, like Eket, Etinan, where the ADB project, was actually established. So Those are special projects, and as may be deemed necessary by His Excellency or Executive Council, all of those projects that are planned, and to be executed as decided by His Excellency or the ESCO.
Okay, sir. So I think we'll just dwell on those projects that you've listed.
Yeah.
Because it means that those are the projects that you embarked on.
Correctly.
But before we go to that, let us ask you to present an honest score sheet. You manned this ministry in the previous administration. And,
No.
Let's say a similar office, technical matters, special duties. There must be some level of performance that has helped you to retain such critical office. So I want you to score yourself from the previous administration up to now.
Well, when it comes to scoring, I wouldn't like to put up a figure. I would like people to score me, honestly. But I could state my contribution.
And looking at the level the projects are, those projects you handled.
When you look at from the last administration, when you look at projects that were delivered, in 8 years, I will tell you, and it still stands out in the whole country. There's no administration. Forget about the issue of money.
Okay.
It's not about money. It's about the team. It's about the team. It's about the delivery. So when you look at that, and then you look at the quality delivery, you look at the time that it was used to deliver those number of projects. People can have money, and before they start, it's like 2 years. Planning can take 2 years, planning can take 4 years. And the guy realized, oh, my first tenure has finished, so he starts planning for the second one. But we were simultaneously doing so many things, because where we found ourselves, was we were far behind. But today, Akwa Ibom State is a state to reckon with. That didn't just come as a fluke. If not, there could have been some other contending states in the federation. But there is none. There is none. There are people that were making a lot more money. River State, for so many years, were staying ahead of us. But mention those infrastructure that was being put across significantly, infrastructure that was put through. When we were building our stadium, they started their stadium before we.
Yes.
And when you put apart the two stadia, you now realize that we are far, but we put our heads together, we said this is the type of stadium we want, It was opened in 2015. We want to ensure that it can host Olympics, and we are not just building a stadium, we want to build a game village. So, and that tells you the area of land that you want to acquire. And there are significant things, for example, that we did in the stadium. We said, if we are going to host the Olympics, what are the safety conditions? That is, so 30,000 seater stadium.
Capacity.
And we came with the safety of the fact that the safety has to go with the evacuation. They will ask you about the evacuation, and in 5 minutes you have to evacuate 30,000 people.
Wow.
So we had to redesign. I asked that specific question to Julius Beja. So they had to go back to drawing board, and then come up with the exit, with the number of exits, 22 exits that
to serve the number of
people, and of course the escape route free of all encumbrances and all of that. So.
Okay, we'll dwell more on the stadia, precisely the new Ibom now Gospel International Stadium, and then I also want to let you know.
No, I didn't finish.
Yes, we want to start there,
yeah.
so we can start taking questions, because already we have some questions
coming in
from the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Already.
I had to cut you because this one is directly on the stadium.
Okay.
It is alleged that other parts of the stadium, apart from the football pitch, are yet to be completed. How do we reckon with that stadium being able to host those caliber of events and competitions that you mentioned?
No.
Talk about apart from the football pitch, which other part of the stadium is completed?
No, the stadium was divided into two phases. It was phase 1 and then phase 2. So we have finished phase 1.
Okay.
And we are currently, with this administration, looking for investors, to come in and take up the management,
phase. Okay.
take up the management and take up the second phase. Second phase being, an indoor games, hall.
Squash.
Yes, you squash. You have volleyball. You have activities. You have those are small things, when you compare to
what has been completed.
What has been completed.
Yes.
So that's like an add-on, So for you to have an in-house, management, you need a facility to house all of that. For me, that budget is not much, So that's where we are.
Should respect that soon.
Yeah.
Because it's not such a big task compared to what has been.
Yeah. So we've been talking to investors already in this administration. We've had some referrals. We've had some discussions. But with that, we have to choose somebody that is in line with the vision of this administration. So we are still searching for that.
Thank you very much. This hand, I think we're having questions from the questions. TN, what do you have to say?
My question is not on the airport, but I'm going to. It's not on the stadium, but on the airport, sir. The increase in the toll gate, in the toll gate fee, tariff at the toll gate. So the complaints by the customers, so to speak. How are you handling that? And is that increase necessary now?
Okay. Yeah, the increase is necessary now because for so many years we were far behind schedule. If we are an international airport, we are an airport that is being funded solely by the state government, and we were not charging as much as even what the federal government is charging. The smaller vehicles were like 100 naira, and then the SUVs were 150. At some point we said 150, but other states are taking 200 naira, so we just move everybody to 200 naira. Then we retain the PSC, which is normal all over the country. The passenger service charge is 1,000 naira, so we didn't increase that, so it was just a way of being a par with the rest of the airport. So we are not, if you look at it, we are not just increasing, we are just moving to where other airports are. The facilities at the airport, for what we have in Akwa Ibom State, for example, the instrument landing systems, is second to none. The runway that we have, is 3.6 kilometers. So you have bills to, or let me say, equipment to service, and where are the money coming from? So instead of having subventions and all of that, but that is not we are not even talking about the economics. We are just saying let's move from where we used to be to where others are. Yeah, where we ought to be, and that's what it is. And I think it's important that we explain to the Akwa Ibom people.
And to complete my question on the airport, sir, the new management you put in place recently, sir, led by Mrs. Swega, sir, how far so far?
Yeah, it's. I think when something is good, there should be some level of applause. His Excellency Udom Emmanuel, for me, did excellently well, and a lot of people are applauding him equally. In having the choice, of this Mrs. Swega, that came in to put things in place, for the Akwa Ibom State Airport or International Airport. She has an international experience. She was about to be hired, let me say by the headquarters NCAA. She's an auditor. She's in that class, having worked in so many other international airports before. So what she has brought to Akwa Ibom State, if you ask the workers there, they will tell you that they have a different level of fresh air, kind of, because what they didn't know, this woman is putting it in place for them. She's a trainer, so most of the monies that we were to spend on training, or the lack of training, the gap has been completely filled up or saved that money and all of that. So even the consultant, that we took, we are completely tweaking a document, on to commercialize the airport in terms of what can we do to bring in money, what can we do to opt or give it a facelift at the airport, and then run an airport as it should be run internationally. So that's where we are, and I myself and so many other people that have come in contact with that team are very happy with within a short period of time, what they've been able to record in terms of successes.
She was to serve for 3 years and then hand over to local, managers.
Yes.
Are we still expecting that?
Definitely. She's not done 6 months yet, So, but she has a plan. I've seen the plan. Very soon this year, you'll see a lot of our boys and girls going out for training. You have to have that international handshake so that when you are given such responsibilities, and of course, the people that are going will be filtered, depending on their performance, when they go out for training. But first of all, she has started an in-house training that is very, very encouraging.
Okay. Honorable Commissioner, I want to thank you so much, and His Excellency the Governor, for the good work you've done in the state within the few months that you've been in office. I want you, sir, to explain the rationale behind the restructuring of the Akwa Ibom International Airport in terms of infrastructure. We've seen the restructuring in terms of personnel, and why are we going into the structural the infrastructural repositioning of the airport?
Okay, so why? Because I didn't tell you we've gone in yet on that. You say, why do we want to? Yes. Have you heard we are going into it?
Yeah, we saw some pictures of the governor at the new runway.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's an airport of this magnitude is a place that has the face not only of Akwa Ibom State but the face of Nigeria. When it comes to security issues, we are working with NCAA, we are working with FAN, because all airports are controlled by the federal government, but we build it and we are coexisting. So the infrastructure is very important, and His Excellency is taking it very seriously. Every time he travels through the airport, he goes on inspection of that taxiway. It's important that we do have a taxiway of that nature. Having only one runway is not the best, though in most of the airports in Nigeria, it's majorly only one runway. And we have the longest runway, 3.6 kilometers, expandable to 4.2 kilometers. So to opt, not only the reliability of the runway, because you see there's always a sharp turn on the runway. When you go past the threshold, people are turning, and that gives a very bad wear and tear of that runway. So that's why taxiways are always recommended, or if anything happens on the runway, the airport is blocked, So that is why with the vision of this administration, bringing in so many investors, so many chartered planes are coming in with the investors, and activities at the airport has really been seen to be increased, and that's why he said I must quickly finish up the taxiway, so that we can get into something else. And you see that taxiway is coming up with rapid exit, both into the runway and of course to the apron that you have there. So that those has to be completed, so that the aircraft can have an easy ride in and out of the airport. Before the end of the year, you will see that flight increase is going to come up because, for example, the flag offs or the foundation laying that we've done, for most of the industries, construction is going to start this year, and a lot of people are going to fly in, so, and we are even dealing with the issue of going into cargo. We are already in discussion, with some investors that are coming in with the constructing the cargo, and of course the terminal building. There's a remodel of that terminal building, to take on, to even have a hotel, right, in it, and then have meeting areas, apart from the local and the international wing, you have meeting areas, where people will come in and have business, especially when you have the cargo airport, cargo facility. So you have a lot of people coming in for their cargo. The oil and gas cargo is going to come in, and equipment for those industries are going to come in. So that is why a good terminal building of such is will definitely come in immediately.
Okay, so I have another question from online.
Please, can you tell us the name of the person? And then
Okay.
go ahead.
From at Owo747. He says, what really is needed for Akwa Ibom International Airport to resume full international operations, which you've talked about. The other question says, what is the state of the MRO at the airport as at today?
Yeah, the MRO as of today, I must state, we went into serious infrastructure development that Nigeria never have, So, and when we took those bold steps, you expect that there could be some lull period, because of if it's not available. For example, it is not a shop. It is not a shop where there's some copyright and all that. So it's a facility that is not existent within even West Africa. So the only closed facility of such is in Ethiopia. And in about a few days, I will be traveling with some people to Ethiopia. They've invited us. They're showing a serious interest, in that facility. Also, in February, we're going to the MRO show in Dubai, So that again, we will come back, and then we are talking to 2 other investors that are using the opportunities, that exist in Nigeria, even with the military aircraft, maintenance, because of all of what is going on now, you need where to fix, carry out the C checks, in those aircraft. The A and B can be done in any shop, but the C checks and the D checks, which this particular MRO is tailored to do A, B, C, and D checks, So that is actually what we are looking for, and once we get it right, we will station at it. But I believe that this year is that year that we're going to have a preferred operator for the MRO, and I'm very much confident with that. So where are we with the MRO? We are on a fast track mode now, led by His Excellency Udom Emmanuel. We are talking to so many people, and where we are in terms of the construction is where we should be, because you don't need to go past that level, because the operators will want to put in their cranes, they will want to put in their pits, where depending on the aircraft type, so that's what it is.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. My name is Kavili, one publisher, Akwa Ibom Trending. Sir, we would like to know, what is the recruitment process for the Ibom Specialist Hospital? Thank you, sir.
Okay. This is a recurring question. So for the, remember that part of the construction of the Ibom Specialist Hospital was to create job opportunity for Akwa Ibom people, So we are very, very much aware of that. Equally, because it is a quaternary hospital, we had to go into an agreement, with cardio care, American hospitals, to be able to manage the hospital. Now, even in the MOU, there's some level of influence that we will have, not total, in the recruitment. For example, they are giving 100% to bring in the international staff, that will be at the forefront. Then, the local content is what we will have to control, So, and you cannot control in terms of quota. No, it has to be performance, So, the first level of interaction has been done, which is the advertorial. There's an online advert that is going on, and there is collation of this, call for interview. Even the community people are waiting and said our people have not been taken yet. Nobody has been employed yet in the hospital as I'm speaking to you, apart from the international staff that are on the ground.
Thank you very much, Honorable. That caught my attention. You said some recruitment process is going on online, and we'd like to know the sites, for an example, for our viewers watching, so we can tell people to go. It is web-based, but this is the first time I think this is going to go on air, as it were. Yes, because a lot of people do not actually know it's online.
Okay.
Yes, so we would like to know the.
I'll get the online. I'll get the site for you before we finish.
Thank you. And also, we'd like to know exactly what happened to the ones who went for the training process or training program with regards to the MRO, and why they've been, sent to different ministries, as it were, and how that comes through in today's reality. Thank you very much.
It's a very good question, and I must tell you I appreciate that, because a lot of people have been asking, behind the scene. So now that we are open, let me tell the world that this is the first time in this country. I don't even know of any country where government, will take up the training of that high level caliber of engineers, the avionics engineers, is something that is being sought for, all over the world. I remember that I went to see the student in Embry-Riddle University in the US, and we were following through and excellent, but when we came in, our projections failed us, in terms of immediately after the training that there will be operators that will come in, and then we had to hold them. The government were paying them for doing nothing. Government were paying them because, for example, somebody that is trained on avionics, of the aircraft, there's no aircraft to look into and all that. So at some point, we now recommended that some airlines, should take them on. So we came up with a training schedule. Got accommodation for them in Lagos, and put them in apartments in Lagos over 2-3 years, and they were now going to maybe Aero of this world, Arik of this world, and now some other airlines I don't want to mention, and they were taking it, but we had some time. They gave us some time, to say, okay, 1 year, 2 years, but that came to pass without we still having the MRO working, So, and the financial burden were coming up too much on the government, state government. So we now said fine, because even at this time we were running the certifications. They were still going for the exams. They would take the exams to be certified and remain relevant. All of that was done by government. So there's come a time we now said, okay, if you guys can find a job for yourself outside, you can go ahead and do that. For those that are unable to get, instead of sacking you, we will now hold forth, in some of the ministries, so that when once the MRO comes alive, we'll now take you back for retraining, which like a brushing up, and that will be good enough for you to come in and so it's
Okay, Okay, so
Yeah.
questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity to ask this question directly instead of listening to speculations. All right, sir. This goes to the stadium. We know that it was a very expensive project, and there it sits. It is a major attraction. I think Nigeria has not done justice to that attraction. But then we want to know, this administration came on the promise of specialization, professionalism, and bureaucracy. A lot of Akwa Ibom people voted knowing that no matter what this government do not do, they will create wealth, will be able to attract investors, be able to create jobs for people. Now, an area of interest is how we plan or hope to generate revenue with that stadium, such an expensive investment, the Gospel Akwa Ibom International Stadium. All right, so we would like to know, sir, how do we hope to make money with this stadium, with this very investment?
Okay.
Seeing that sports hasn't really been that developed, not just in Akwa Ibom, but in Nigeria, and I think indeed football, actually, Africa was still lagging in the area of sports development. So how it will be a miracle if this administration can make this happen. You know, seeing that we're surrounded by a very difficult situation. But so, what are the ideas of this administration?
Yeah, it's that's again a very good question. I guess all of you are asking good questions. You must have been very prepared for this. So I want to put it across that the stadium, the Ibom International Stadium, it's an edifice of its own. We needed to get in a stadium of that nature, you know, as of when we started and completed it. You know, there's no doubt about that. And once you construct, you complete, you commission, then the next thing is the management. You know, so currently now we do have a technical management of the facility, which is still done by Julius Beja. You know, and of course they are training our locals. You know, so at some point we don't want to go with them, then we have a good exit, not an exit where you don't have people on ground to be able to maintain. So that's one part of management. So on the commercial management point, you know, just like I said when I was answering to Deme, you know, we are strongly in a search for a good commercial management team, you know, who is going to come up with options, you know. For example, you look at a situation where somebody is coming up with an option of creating a club around the stadium, you know, and you pay dues, right? You pay dues, and then you make recommendations of these young ones, you know, for the academy, you know. So the team that is coming in comes in with finance, you know, and then it's not running it alone. Create a community, you know, and then you have these young people, you know, to train up. So the facility was not built only for football or to make money. You can create wealth on a facility, the wealth that you see in 20 years. You know, that's the whole idea. Let us create an edifice that is going to create wealth for Akwa Ibom State, maybe in 10, maybe in 15, maybe in 20 years. For example, you take a 10-year-old and you start to train, create an academy. I tell you how passionate His Excellency is. He's told Julius Beja, you know, I want you to give me one of the clubs in Germany, you know, that will come to take up the management, you know, create an academy, you know, of sorts, you know. So we are equally looking at the Premier League equally, you know. I remember that the Emirates, they came in there. You wouldn't even have the face to go to talk to Emirates if you don't have such a stadium, you know. So that is the high caliber. We might succeed this year, but I don't see us missing next year, in bringing that high level caliber management, team, that will train, that will create an academy. So that investment of 10-year-olds, that will spring up, to become the Igalo, so you now have not Igalo this time, the Udos and the Afghans, that will overrun all other players in Nigeria, because it's not about quota; it's about who can play, or even on the export to the Premier Leagues or La Liga, So it's for me what the investment is all about. People might look at it as being an expensive venture. Of course, when they started dualizing the roads in Akwa Ibom State, I was part of the team. When you go say, oh, we even this small one that we have, why not patch it, right?
Yes, sir.
Talk less of accepting the flyover. But today we are completely overrunning those facilities.
Okay.
We should be able to create additional spore,
Yes.
For expansion.
Yes.
Because this state in the next 5 years, is going to be a center of attraction.
You have a traffic problem.
You're going to have a traffic problem. So His Excellency Udom Emmanuel is already thinking about it. He keeps on screaming on the airport road, the dualization of Oron Road again, or where do we have to take off from the airport and enter the town, create a new city.
Yes.
There are people today that are planning new city for Akwa Ibom State, through this administration, because he's looking into the future. In 4 years, when these industries are coming alive completely, when the deep seaport is coming alive, when the cargo facility is coming alive, you have to create a road network where containers and the likes of the cargoes, will go to international market, will go to the warehousing or bonded warehousing. So this is the future of the state. So the stadium will definitely make money for itself, not the physical money alone, but bring up our children to international standard.
Okay. Commercial activities. Stadium and match.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just before we round off, can you please tell us what happened? Because there were rumors prior to the time with regards to the residential area of the Ibom specialist consultants as regards being the former governor's apartments. So can you please give us a brush up on that?
Well, I think a lot of rumors in Nigeria, Akwa Ibom is spearheading it and all that. The property, to the best of my knowledge, is not owned by the former governor. It was done by a private developer, and taken over by the administration. And that's why we went to commission it. People speculate, so much about these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. So, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So sometime last year, retired Admiral Andrew Goja claimed that Ibom Deep Seaport concept is intellectual property, and he threatened to take Nigerian Port Authority and Akwa Ibom State government to court.
Yeah.
So can you clear air on that?
Yeah, well, to the best of my knowledge, deep sea ports are not owned by individuals in Nigeria. It's completely an entity of the federal government. Even when we say Ibom Deep Sea Port, Ibaka Deep Sea Port, and all of that, Akwa Ibom State cannot single-handedly develop a deep sea port, talk less of an individual. There were speculations like that, and I think he has written, or some other people, some of them that even took Akwa Ibom State to court, they've written the Akwa Ibom State that they've retrieved the case, or the cases, and as the case may be. So, Ibom Deep Sea Port is free of all encumbrances.
Okay, sir. This one is from Instagram, and the guy that sends the question says he just wants a yes or no answer. His name is Prince Format.
Okay.
are there tax incentives for potential investors at Ibom Deep Seaport after completion of the project? And what is the estimated time of takeoff? Will there be tax incentives for potential investors at Ibom Deep Seaport after completion? 1 and 2, what is the estimated time of takeoff?
Okay. What's the name of the guy?
Prince Format.
Okay, Prince Format. I think that is not a yes or no answer. And if you want me to go ahead and answer you, yes, when we started the development of Ibom Deep Seaport, we normally write a tax incentive, but administration changed and all of that. So with the current administration, we are yet to know exactly what to say in that regard, because there are certain things that you are going to do, and it's completely off record. You know, there used to be waiver in certain aspects, you know, of businesses, you know, but now most of those things are being stopped. So it depends on the economy of the country as of when Ibom Deep Seaport commences, you know. And what was the second one again?
The estimated time.
Estimated time. Yeah, the estimated time. Just a little bit of. Let's spend a little bit of minutes on Ibom Deep Seaport. The last administration came up with meeting a land, 5,651 hectares of land. You know, that was what was acquired. 5,651. You know, and speculated. You know, that's not the last administration. That's of before that, the last administration. So that's what they met on ground, and also met the fact that we should expand to 13,000. That was not acquired, right? So, but when the last administration came, they acquired and surveyed 14,400. So we are now working with 14,400 hectares of land currently. You know, that was necessitated, you know, with the fact that the vision changed completely. You know, when we had Wale Parsons, you know, coming to do the concept master plan and design. Wale Parsons is a foremost engineering firm, and they came up with the fact that I was the secretary of that committee. You know, they came up with the fact that, look, if we want to do Ibom industrial city, that is what was in place. You know, so the Deep Seaport is an integral part of Ibom Deep Seaport is a industrial city. So they now recommended that Ibom Deep Seaport should be strived upon. You know, we should drive that, because when you want to establish Ibom Deep Seaport, then the industrial city will come alive. You know, so with that concept, of course, we went for registration. We got the free trade zone license. I personally was going for those up and down Abuja, you know, to get the company registered, to get Ibom industrial city free trade zone. For we have a free trade zone license that covers the 14,400 hectares. Those were the things that we achieved, and then we got a transaction advisor, you know, to take us to the outline business case. You know, so when people say, Deep Seaport, Deep Seaport, Deep Seaport is not something you wake up and till the ground there are laid down rules, you know, that you must follow, both from the Federal Ministry of Transport and from the Nigerian Port Authority. And constitutionally, you know, the concession of any deep seaport or any seaport, is being run by the NPA. You know, so we have to carry NPA along. We have to carry the Nigerian Port Authority, Nigerian Federal Ministry of Transport. You know, and then this committee that was created, you know, to actually move the project forward. You know, which is called the Ministerial Project Delivery Steering Committee. You know, so that team had the SSG as of the time, and myself as the special advisor on technical matters, you know, in. So the governor was part of the team. He was the secretary to the state government. He was part of that team, and I was in that team as well. So we drove the project to a point of having the outline business case approved by the former president. And when I say drove the project, not about me, but about the current governor. Who from where he met it, he made sure that he pushed it. Without him, we wouldn't have gotten the outline business case, because he came up with a serious experience from the corporate world, and then with all his connections, and push it, to where we are. And when that was gotten, as a governor, he knew exactly what to do, and he set up the technical committee that is led by the Barrister Mfon Usoro, as a chair person. So, and this lady has enormous experience when it comes to marine. So, and he has all the connections, both in the Federal Ministry of Transport and NPA. So, we then went into not an agreement. We went into discussion with PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, who now call for tenders, because we needed to produce a transaction advisor that will take us to the full business case. And of course, the full business case is a document that you are ready, with the operator. So it means that you have a detailed analysis of the deep seaport that you want to, both location gazetted, you have the wave modeling, you have the topography surveys, you have the all the surveys that is supposed to be done, and then you have a database, where you now go for procurement of the operators. The operators will then look at your data room, and then come up with their proposal in terms of running. And once that is done, you pre-qualify them, qualify them, and then come up with the operator that will give you not only quantitative analysis, but qualitative analysis of all of what you have in the database, as well as a finance that will be able to do the job. So from the outline business case, we have a value of $1.7 billion to be able to build a port. This money will not come from us. It will come from federal government, 20% equity, state government, 20% equity, and then the private investors, 60% equity. So this is the model of which we are working on. So Pricewater has come up with the transaction advisor, which is GMAPS, which is what we signed agreement the other day, and then we have Da Andasa, as the planners for the industrial city. We're just going for 2 of them now, and it should be done by end of the year. It's a 1-year period to be able to get the deep seaport full business case, and then you have the industrial city, So this one with the industrial city is going to come with full pertinence of investors, that will invest in that area. We have 9,000 plus hectares, that is remaining for the industrial city, plus the 5,000 that has been given for the deep seaport. That makes it the 14,000. So this is a zone that is going to feed the region. When I say the region, the Gulf of Guinea, completely, because you don't have this level of deep water in this zone. So when you go to a draft of 18 meters, from some places are 13, some are 15, and then you are only going for 18, and then the deep offshore is open, completely. So once you have that, you definitely bring in the big ships, that can come up, that are coming up maybe from Dubai or from China and all of that, and then you can have a transshipment zone, right from here. So that is the vision. That is the deep sea port. But if you ask what has been done, the paperwork has to be done. He said no job is done until the paperwork is done. So you need to get the paperwork done. You need to get the paperwork done before you get into tilling the ground, the soil, right there. So what we have today is what other deep sea port proposal are not able to achieve within the period we have achieved this, because there are people that we met on ground. We met Lekki deep sea port, but today we have gone past them in terms of being ready to because once we spend 1 year to get this full business case, so that means at the end of this year we have an operator of the deep sea port. It's the operator that is going to come with the money, get the federal government money, get the state government money, and then start the construction. It's the operator that will attract business into the zone. It's the operator that will run the concession with NPA. So that is exactly what it is. And so today, His Excellency has awarded a contract for a road, to get into the facility. So that the investors and access, to the facility will be done. So that contract has been awarded.
Thank you very much.
You cannot give an exact answer to that question. When the deep sea port project?
No. So we are looking at 2018, 2019. Of course, His Excellency had given us 2018 in the terms of reference. So that's where we are.
Thank you very much, Honorable. We consider a very deep concern here.
Yeah.
And the concern has to do with the youth of Akwa Ibom State who implore for jobs every other day. We've heard you talk about 100,000 jobs for the youth. We've heard you talk about training, subsequent trainings that will come up from the state government with regards to the Ibom Deep Seaport. The question I would like to ask you is, do you see this as a concern in view of the fact that before you take a youth for employment in a seaport like that, the person has to be vast in that area, experienced and efficient for that particular purpose. So you cannot take a carpenter and then you enroll the person to work in a deep seaport. How do you view this, as a concern? We talk about 100,000 people. 100,000 Akwa Ibom people, and we know how our people can be so particular about being it's taking back home, people from back home. After all that, because we are concerned always comes up, do we have to get people from outside to come incorporate and all of that, So the concern is we are talking about 100,000 people.
Yeah.
100,000 Akwa Ibom youth in a certain sector. How do we intend to achieve that, please?
Yeah. That's a major one, but it's not taking us unawares. Because we've been talking about the development of the deep sea port, for a while now, but I think we are being blessed with the fact that we do have a maritime academy, which we are proposing to push to maritime university, and of course we are still pursuing that vision, so. We are ensuring that the number of Akwa Ibom indigenes or youth, that are coming out already, from the academy, is enormous. Though will not fit, but I think we have a good grounds to start, But people should take this seriously because. All of the people that have done the training without getting jobs in Lagos, that's why you must support this particular administration to be able to get this job done, get the deep sea port done. All of that people that have gone to that school and staying at home will be immediately taken up, depending on what your proficiency is, and then there could be a ramp up. situation where you then come up with courses. But once we start the construction, the operators will give us some direction, on what, because of course, by the time they start construction by, say, first quarter of next year, you then have projection on who you need first, who you want in year 3, who you want in year 2, and all of that, so that will help us to do specific training, so, but people should take the maritime, industry very seriously, and this is now, people should go for their master's degrees, let's come up from the low level, people go for 6 months or 1 year and get the diploma and said, I've gone for training. You should up yourself again after going to that route. You should up yourself for a higher certification, because this is real.
Thank you very much. This is the last set of questions.
Okay, my name is Trefon.
Already 1 hour now.
My name is Trefon Morgan. I publish for Seaport, Akwa Ibom. I want to ask, what is the plan of government in this budget for the Tropicana, looking at that some of the infrastructure there are decaying, especially the children's side, going through all those tunnel, they are decaying every day. What is the plan of government?
Okay. The plan of government, there are certain things you don't say until it materializes, But we are not sitting. We are working with this particular administration is believing on a PPP, and of course the whole concept was not for government to run it, just like the hospital, you need to bring in a manager, to run it. So today we are in discussion with 2 American firms, that we're believing should come in by next month for inspection. They've already put in their proposal, they've looked at it with the satellite, we've sent them, we've exchanged reports and all that. So that is the likes of what is going to happen here. It has not decayed. When you say decay, the sun, and probably the acid rain, it's having some level of decoloration of those materials. If you look at the metal itself, it's still very rigid. The integrity of the system is solid, So once these people come, they'll look at it and give it an indemnity report, and then we will go into the final management of the stuff. So I'm looking at this year the theme park coming alive, and once we go into agreement with these people.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And of course, sorry, like you have the hotel at the Tropicana equally. The furnitures are there. The furnitures are already there. We're having those slow pace of work currently. Once that is being done, we'll now upload these things in. So we are again, we're working with Hilton. Hilton hotels, because of the 5-star status that they are giving us. We need to redesign. That is what is really slowing, because you can't really, if you want to give that final listing, it's going to be a 3-star. So, but if you want to, you have to redesign as we agreed on our MOU. So we have to redesign and take it to the 5-star level. So a little bit of adjustment. That's why we're slowing down.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner, Ministry of Special Duties. You have really told us how special the ministry is in terms of how we started the question. Yes, we now know about the Akwa Ibom International Airport. We know a bit more about the Ibom Deep Sea projects, which a lot of people don't know about. In fact, we found out that people can actually go online to register for Ibom, for the Ibom Specialist Hospital.
www.ibomspecialtyhospital.com.
Okay, so you heard that, www.ibomspecialtyhospital.com. All the jobs are there. Thank you very much, Honorable. We are grateful this as the online sector of Akwa Ibom State. We are grateful that you gave us this opportunity to hear, and not just us, because these are practitioners, as it were, but the whole nation, Nigeria, has been expectant of several speculations, as it were, to know. They've always yearned to know the truth from the horse's mouth, and today we have at least enough of it for this period of time. Thank you very much. And we know that Governor Udom is working, and we know that the governor, the executive, the administration of the executive governor of Akwa Ibom State, Governor Udom Emmanuel, is out to create jobs for the youth and jobs for the teeming population, as it were. Thank you very much. We believe in the administration, and we stick. And we stand.
I have to conclude with politics.
Yeah, please. Thank you. Yeah, one word.
Yeah. I have to conclude. Yeah. Okay. I must thank you. This is a very serious team. I've been seeing your work, online, and I must thank you very much for projecting this administration. I want to say. His Excellency Udom Emmanuel is one governor in the country that Nigeria needs, that people of Akwa Ibom State need. He goes beyond bounds, that the outfall of what is going to happen because of his capability, will not only rub off on Akwa Ibom people, but Nigeria as the country as a whole. And so this is the person that we need. I am believing strongly that the Supreme Court will do justice to the current situation at stake, and then even if it does not, we'll go to the polls or rerun, whatever it is. Udom Emmanuel is our governor. He will continue to be the governor of this state for the next 8 years or 7.5 years remaining.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Just one word before you go. You have about 600,000 viewers online watching you now.
Wow.
Yes, that's exactly what we have from analytics. So what is your last word for all of them who've been watching?
For all of you that have been watching us, I must sincerely, thank you for watching and for coming in and staying over 1 hour that these have been streaming. I must thank you, and again, I want you to extend your goodwill to His Excellency Udom Emmanuel. This is one man, as I said before, that we need, to take Akwa Ibom State to the next level. I will be very glad, to come online again anytime. Feel free to ask me any question, technically, politically, and I will be there to answer.
Thank you very much. Okay, that's a good one.
Please, I want to make a request.
Yes.
You say that part, you said that His Excellency Governor Udom Emmanuel is one governor that not just Akwa Ibom, Nigeria needs. We want that short video, 15 seconds, that we can make it go far.
Viral, okay.
I should stand.
No, don't. Okay, where's your phone? Somewhere.
Yeah.
Please let me.